Every morning, you are given a finite amount of something that cannot be recovered once spent. Not money, not time, though time is part of it. Something more fundamental than either. The raw, animating force that determines whether you move through your day with intention or merely survive it. Whether you bring full presence to the work that matters or arrive at it already depleted, already fragmented, already halfway consumed by things that deserved none of you. Energy, the irreplaceable currency of a human life. And most of us have never once sat down and examined where it is actually going. We leak it in ways so habitual they have become invisible. In the resentments we carry forward from yesterday, in the arguments we rehearse with people who are not in the room, in the decisions we make from exhaustion rather than clarity, in the obligations we honor, not because they align with anything we genuinely value, but because the refusal feels more costly than the compliance. In the stimulation we consume, not because it nourishes us, but because sitting with our own quiet has become, somewhere along the way, intolerable. By the time we arrive at the things that deserve our full aliveness, the relationships, the work, the interior life that is the only life we truly govern, there is often almost nothing left. And we attribute this to busyness, or to the demands of a difficult season, or to a constitution that is simply not built for high output. We almost never attribute it to what it actually is, the slow, unconscious hemorrhage of our most essential resource to things that did not deserve it. The ancient teachers saw this clearly. They built their entire philosophy around the conservation and direction of human energy toward what is genuinely worth the expenditure. They did not call it energy in our modern terms, but they understood its nature precisely, finite, irreplaceable, and entirely within our governance, if we are willing to do the work of governing it. If this channel has been part of your thinking, part of the ongoing conversation you are having with yourself about what kind of person you are becoming, subscribe to Stoic Mindshift right now. Hit the bell. Every week we go deeper into the philosophy that has carried human beings through the full weight of a difficult life without breaking. Stay close to it. The algorithm will not always bring it to you. Choose to come back. Now, let us go into the 7 secrets. 7 disciplines. 1 purpose: to stop spending the most precious thing you have on what does not deserve it, and to direct it, deliberately and powerfully, toward what does. Secret 1. Audit where your energy actually goes before anything can be changed. It must be seen. And most of us have never truly looked. We have a vague sense that we are tired more often than we should be, that the things we intend to do seem to require more effort than they ought, that the day ends with a deficit that sleep never quite fully replenishes. But we have not done the honest, specific work of tracing that deficit back to its sources, of identifying, with clear eyes and without the comfortable stories we tell ourselves, where the energy is actually going. Marcus Aurelius performed this kind of examination daily, not of his schedule, of his interior. He tracked not the hours, but the quality of attention he brought to them. He noticed when he was present and when he was performing presence, when he was genuinely engaged and when he was going through motions, when his energy was flowing toward something real and when it was being consumed by the machinery of distraction or unexamined obligation. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be, he wrote. Be one. The instruction contains within it an implicit audit. What are you doing right now? That arguing, that internal debate, that circular self-justification, that rehearsal of positions that will never be spoken, is consuming the energy that being requires. The first secret is deceptively simple and genuinely demanding. For 1 week, track not your time, but your energy. After each significant activity, each conversation, each period of work, Each form of consumption or social engagement, ask honestly, am I more energized or less energized than before? Does this leave me with more capacity or less? The results will be clarifying in ways that no productivity system can replicate, because they will be specific to the actual texture of your actual life. The meeting that appears necessary on the calendar but leaves you emptied every time. The relationship that feels obligatory but costs more than it returns. The content consumed in the name of staying informed that consistently leaves the mind more agitated than it found it. See clearly. Name specifically. This is the foundation. Nothing changes until this is done honestly. Secret 2. Guard your attention as your most valuable possession. Attention is not merely a cognitive function. It is the instrument through which we experience everything. Every relationship, every moment of beauty, every piece of work, every encounter with the extraordinary and the ordinary alike. The quality of our attention is, in the most literal sense, the quality of our life. And we have been taught to treat it as though it were inexhaustible, as though it could be fractured across 17 simultaneous inputs, pulled in every direction at once, sold in fragments to whatever platform most successfully triggers the dopamine response, and still somehow remain available, whole and powerful, for the things that genuinely deserve it. It cannot. It never could. Epictetus understood this with the clarity of someone who had no material possessions to protect, and therefore understood with unusual precision what was actually worth protecting. Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a friend, or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy. Every item on that list is, fundamentally, a corruption of attention. A redirection of the governing faculty away from genuine engagement with what is real and toward the performance of an interior that has been invaded by something unworthy. The second secret is to treat your attention with the seriousness of someone who understands it is finite and irreplaceable. This means making explicit, daily decisions about what receives it, not leaving those decisions to the pull of habit, the pressure of social expectation, or the engineered seductiveness of systems designed to capture and monetize it. What does your attention go to in the first hour of the day? What receives it in the spaces between tasks? The elevator, the queue, the 2 minutes between one thing and the next? What consumes it in the evening hours when it might instead be directed toward genuine rest, or genuine connection, or the interior life that cannot be maintained without it? Seneca wrote, Omnia aliena sunt, tempus tantum nostrum est. Everything is alien to us. Time alone is ours. He might equally have written it of attention. Everything will make a claim on it. Only you can decide which claims to honor. Honor them deliberately. The energy savings are staggering. Secret 3. Eliminate the energy drain of unresolved integrity. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with physical exertion or cognitive effort. It is the exhaustion of living slightly out of alignment with what we actually believe, of carrying, day after day, the low-grade weight of compromises made against our own values. We said yes when we meant no. We stayed silent when honesty was called for. We maintained a relationship that we know, in the clearest part of ourselves, has become more costly than it returns. We continued a habit we know is working against us. We made peace with a situation we have not actually made peace with. We have simply stopped arguing about it out loud while continuing to argue about it, endlessly and exhaustingly. Inside, this interior misalignment is one of the most significant energy drains available to a human being, and one of the least discussed, because it requires a quality of honesty with ourselves that is genuinely uncomfortable to practice. Seneca was direct. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. He was talking about material desire, but the same structure applies to integrity. It is not the person whose life contains difficulty that is exhausted. It is the person who is spending energy managing the gap between who they are and who they are pretending to be. The third secret is to close that gap. Not all at once. The accumulated compromises of years cannot be resolved in a single conversation or a single decision, but one by one, beginning with the most costly. The conversation that has been avoided and is now living rent-free in the mind, consuming energy every time the person's name appears. The commitment that was made from obligation rather than genuine alignment and is now a weight carried daily. The version of yourself being performed for an audience whose approval you have not consciously chosen to pursue. Marcus Aurelius returned again and again to the practice of living according to nature, by which he meant living in accordance with the rational, examined values that the best part of a human being is capable of. The person living in that alignment does not experience the silent drain of integrity debt. Their energy is their own, directed where they choose, not silently redistributed to the management of a life being lived on terms they did not fully choose. Close the gap. The energy that is freed in doing so will surprise you. Secret 4. Stop spending vital force on the uncontrollable. This secret is ancient. It is also the most consistently violated principle in the inner life of the modern person. We spend, hemorrhage, enormous quantities of our most essential energy on things we cannot change, cannot prevent, and cannot govern. The behavior of other people, the opinions others hold of us, the economic conditions, the political landscape, the weather of a world that is indifferent to our preferences and impervious to our worry. And the worry does not change these things. This is the fact most painful to accept, because the worry feels like action. It feels like vigilance. It feels like we are doing something about the thing by thinking about it hard enough and long enough. But the thing remains unchanged, and we are emptied. Epictetus identified this as the root of all human suffering and the source of all human freedom simultaneously. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. The liberation contained in these words is available the moment we genuinely, not performatively, accept their logic. What is in our power, our responses, our values, our choices, our attention, our effort, deserves everything we have. What is not in our power deserves none of it. The fourth secret is the practice of the firm line between these two territories, drawn not once but daily, in the specific context of the specific concerns that arise each day. What am I actually worried about right now? Is it something I can influence through the quality of my own action and choice? If yes, act, fully and without reservation. If no, release it, not as spiritual performance, but as the rational recognition that the energy being spent is a loss with no corresponding return. This sounds simpler than it is. The mind trained on worry does not surrender its material without resistance. The anxiety that has been housed in a particular concern will, if that concern is released, seek another host immediately. The practice is not to stop the seeking, it is to notice it, and to refuse the new host with the same honest clarity that released the old one. What is yours? Direct everything toward it. What is not yours? Take your energy back, every time. Without exception, the accumulation of energy recovered through this practice alone is transformative. Secret 5. Rest as a discipline, not a reward. We have inherited a cultural story about rest that is doing us significant damage. The story goes like this. Rest is what you earn after sufficient output. It is the reward granted to the productive, the prize at the end of the labor, the permission slip issued by achievement. Until the work is done, and the work in this story is never quite done, rest is a luxury that the serious person cannot quite justify. This story is not only wrong, it is precisely backwards. The Stoics understood rest not as the absence of discipline, but as one of its expressions. The person who does not rest, who drives the instrument continuously without maintenance, who demands output without allowing recovery, is not disciplined. They are undiscerning. They are spending capital without allowing it to accumulate, drawing on reserves that are being depleted faster than they can be replenished. Seneca wrote to Lucilius with characteristic directness, "Retire into yourself as much as possible with those who will make you better. Keep those men near you who are capable of improving you. Welcome those whom you yourself are capable of improving." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. The retirement he describes, the genuine withdrawal from the demands of the external world into the replenishing quiet of the interior, is not laziness. It is the deliberate maintenance of the instrument, without which everything else is impossible. The fifth secret is to treat rest as a non-negotiable discipline, rather than an optional reward. This means sleep protected with the same seriousness brought to the most important work. It means genuine recovery, not the passive consumption of stimulation that mimics rest while providing none, built into the rhythm of each day. It means the recognition that the quality of everything you do while awake depends entirely on the quality of the recovery you allow between the doing. Marcus Aurelius was a man of extraordinary output, military, administrative, philosophical, and he understood that the output was only possible because of what happened in the spaces between it. The morning practice that reset the interior, the philosophical reflection that processed the day's experience, the genuine withdrawal from the demands of empire that allowed the mind to reconstitute itself before meeting those demands again. Rest is not the opposite of discipline. It is its completion. Build it in. Protect it fiercely. And watch what becomes possible in the hours that follow genuine recovery, rather than the hollow continuation that exhaustion produces. Secret 6. Direct your energy toward depth, not volume. The modern ambition has been captured by a particular illusion that more is always better. More output, more connections, more experiences, more consumption, more presence across more platforms, more conversations, more simultaneous investments of time and attention and energy. And the result, for most of us, is not a richer life. It is a thinner one. A life spread so broadly across so many surfaces that it never penetrates anywhere deeply enough to produce the quality of experience, relationship, or work that a life fully invested in fewer things could produce. Epictetus understood the cost of this diffusion in his own terms. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. The person who goes deep, who invests fully in the thing that genuinely matters rather than spreading evenly across everything that might be considered, will look, from the outside, like someone who is missing things, who is not keeping up, who has made a strange, limiting choice. From the inside, they are the only person in the room who has actually arrived somewhere. The sixth secret is the deliberate concentration of energy, not the frantic optimization of output across all available domains, but the honest prioritization of depth over volume in every area where depth is what actually produces value, which is most areas. The relationship given full presence rather than the divided attention of someone who is always also somewhere else. The work pursued to its actual capacity rather than to the level required for the appearance of productivity. The interior life developed through genuine reflection rather than the shallow processing that passes for self-awareness when the depth is never accessed. Marcus Aurelius spent decades governing an empire. He also spent decades going deep into a handful of philosophical questions that he returned to, again and again, finding new dimensions each time, because the returning was genuine rather than cursory. The depth of his inquiry is what produced the meditations, not the breadth of his reading, not the volume of his philosophical consumption, but the sustained, concentrated engagement with questions that mattered. Where are you spreading that should be concentrated? What would become possible if the energy currently distributed across the surface were directed into the depth? Answer that honestly. Then, make the choice it demands. Secret 7. Align your daily actions with what you have decided truly matters. We arrive at the final secret, and it is the one that gives all the others their meaning. Every discipline in this conversation has been, in its own way, a practice of conservation, of gathering the energy that has been leaking, recovering what has been spent on the unworthy, protecting what is finite and irreplaceable. But conservation without direction is accumulation without purpose. The energy recovered must go somewhere. And where it goes determines everything. The Stoics were unambiguous about the destination. Virtue, not in the thin moralistic sense that word is acquired, but in its original sense, arete, excellence. The full actualization of what a human being is capable of being. The direction of all available energy toward becoming, through daily practice and honest self-examination. The most complete version of the self that has been given to us to develop. Seneca wrote, near the end of a life that had survived exile, loss, and the knowledge of his own impending execution, Vindica te tibi. Reclaim yourself for yourself. Every word of that instruction carries weight. Reclaim what has been spent, what has been given away, what has been taken without consent for yourself, not for your reputation, not for your legacy, not for the approval of an audience whose membership changes with the season, for yourself, for the interior life that is the only life you truly own. The 7th secret is the daily act of alignment, ensuring that the energy you have reclaimed through the preceding 6 disciplines is flowing toward what you have genuinely and deliberately decided matters most. Not toward what is loudest, most urgent, most socially rewarded, or most comfortable, but toward what is most true. This requires knowing what is most true, which requires the examination that the morning practice makes possible, which requires the interior silence that the protected rest enables, which requires the integrity that the closed gap between values and action produces. Every secret in this conversation is in service of this final one, because all the energy management in the world produces nothing of value if there is no examined destination to direct it toward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The power he was pointing at is not the power to control outcomes. It is the power to direct the self, fully, deliberately, without reservation, toward what the self has decided is worth the expenditure of a life. Direct yourself there. Every day. In the first decision of the morning and the last honest reckoning of the evening. In the choice to spend the next hour on what genuinely matters rather than what is merely available. In the refusal to let the finite and irreplaceable currency of your energy be spent on anything that has not earned it. This is the mastery being offered. Not the mastery of circumstances. Those will remain, as they always have, largely beyond our governance. The mastery of the only territory that was ever truly ours, the interior. The self, the energy that animates it, and the direction in which that energy flows. 7 secrets. 1. Discipline. A lifetime of practice. The ancient teachers did not promise that this path was comfortable. They promised something rarer and more durable, that it was worth it. That the person who does the work of genuinely governing their own energy, who stops the leaking, closes the drain, recovers what has been spent on the unworthy, and directs what remains toward what is genuinely true, becomes, over time, something the comfortable path could never produce. Not a person without struggle. Not a person without loss or difficulty, or the full range of what a human life contains. A person who meets all of that with something intact at the center, something that has not been depleted by the 1,000 small surrenders of an unexamined life. A person who arrives at the things that matter with enough of themselves left to actually be present for them. That is the life being pointed at here. That is what all of this is for. The energy is yours. It has always been yours. The only question is whether you will govern it or continue to let the world spend it for you. Govern it. Starting now. Starting today. One decision at a time. One reclaimed hour at a time. One deliberate direction at a time. I'll see you in the next one.